Welcome to some Immortal Servitude. I hope you're excited for some 2-drop aristocrats. Oh, yes, I am. As far as opening hand goes, love it. We've got Hedron Crab, Fetch Lands, Glimpse the Unthinkable. I'll keep on this one in the heartbeat. The only thing that we are missing is Immortal Servitude, but hopefully with Tygam Scheming, we can kind of dig a little bit deeper and find this one. But first things first, we will be getting down the polluted delta as quickly as possible, getting down that Hedron Crab and going for some beautiful Hedron Crab triggers targeting ourselves. See if our opponent wants to mulligan past 7. Oh my goodness. Well, opponent's got a 400 card deck. It looks like we're playing against Battle of the Wits. Okay. Okay, yeah. So if you look up there, you can see next to the time clock, it says 393. So our opponent is playing a 400 card deck. Let's have some fun. Now, I know if we're going to get down this polluted delta and get down Hedron Crab, I'm sure our opponent's thinking we're probably playing Mill. So they're just like, yes, come on, bring it. Send all your mind funerals my way, but no, we're going to go ahead and crack this polluted delta, get down the watery grave, get down Hedron Crab. That will be online for some Misty. Let's go and shock this in. We're going to go ahead and pay 2. Let's go for Hedron Crab. I mean, there's no better feeling than Hedron Crab on turn 1. Anything else, we're going to go and pass the turn. Okay, now we are playing Immortal Servitude. If you do not see the deck tech, that revolves around a card that is 3 mana and then has X in its cost. What it is you pay 3 black or white. We're going to be paying black because we're playing Sultai. And X is going to be whatever converted mana cost creature you want to bring out of the graveyard, and you're going to bring all of those creatures out of the graveyard. So this is basically just 2-drop aristocrats. Now, as far as builds of aristocrats go in Modern, you can definitely go 4-color rally. That kind of forces you to go into white. But as far as building a Sultai kind of aristocrats reanimator deck, Immortal Servitude's pretty much kind of where it's at. It's the best way to dump a bunch of stuff into the graveyard and have some fun with it. And in fact, it's going to kind of kick it off. Let's get this popped up a little bit. So we're going to put the Misty down. Hedron Crab trigger targeting ourselves. In response to that trigger, we're going to go and crack the Misty. That way we don't mill away the land that we want to grab. Let's go and grab an Overgrown Tomb. And we're going to go and shock this one in. Yes, we're going to pay 2 life. And we're going to direct that 3 over at us again. All right. Do you hit a Blood Artist in the graveyard? Another Grimflow. Oh, wonderful. The only thing we're missing right now is a sack outlet. Let's go ahead and go for, we did not see Immortal Servitude in this initial spread. Let's go ahead and go for a Tygam Scheming right now. We might be able to kind of catch one off of that. Unfortunately, we do not. But we do hit Snapcaster. So let's go ahead and put these into the graveyard. That way we can draw into Snapcaster. Click OK. And that's going to turn us online for Noxious Revival. Anything else, we're going to go and pass the turn. Let's go and swing it with Hedron Crab. Let him have some fun. He's a 0-2, but we're doing it just to let him have some fun. Okay, now we put Snapcaster on top of our library because as we start milling our graveyard, eventually we're going to get into something like Noxious Revival, so we can put Immortal Servitude back on. It makes it a lot easier to go for Snapcaster with that. It kind of gives you the ease to start milling as much as you want. And in fact, let's go and do that now. Let's go and put the Watery Grave into play. I'm not going to pay 2 on this one. We're going to go for Glimpse the Unthinkable. Targeting ourselves for 3. Never gets old. And there we go, Noxious Revival. Let's go and go Glimpse the Unthinkable for 10, targeting ourselves. And then we do hit Immortal Servitude. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and pass the turn. Now, as far as our creature count out of the... We're not going to swing in this turn, just in case they snap something in. Now, as far as our creature count goes, we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We've got 10 creature cards in the graveyard. We do have 1 sack outlet in Bloodthorn Vampire, and we do have at least we've got 4 copies of Blood Artist in the graveyard. So we might be able to go for Immortal Servitude and win if we can get some stuff going. Let's go ahead and put the... Yeah, I think I'm okay with this one. We can go Overgrown Tomb, shock, puts us down to 12. It's going to be another mill just to be safe, and then we go Glimpse the Unthinkable. Yeah, let's do that. Let's go and shock an Overgrown Tomb. Going to target ourselves for 3. And this is what I love about the deck. You know, we're about to be at turn 4, and we've almost got all of our... Yes, I love it. We're going to go and go Glimpse the Unthinkable. And then we're going to wait for our opponent to tap out. That way we can put Immortal Servitude on top of our library. All right, we've got 12 cards in the library, just how we want it. And then anything else. No, I think we're going to go past the turn. Now, we do have Immortal Servitude. Excuse me, we do have Immortal Servitude in the graveyard. One thing that we do need to go for is a Life from the Loam on one of the lands. So what we can do is, let's say that our opponent taps out on that Hollowed Fountain. We're going to flash and Snapcaster and go for the Noxious Revival and put the Immortal Servitude on top. That way we can kind of draw into it. We do have another another main reason that we want to go for milling a bunch of stuff into the graveyard is we do have, if we're worried about like a counter spell or something like that, where is it? We do have Boseiju in here, which allows us to cast an instant or sorcery spell and not have it be countered. All right, let's go and flash in Snapcaster. Let's go and target that Noxious Revival. And another good thing about milling your entire graveyard like this is that we do have Empty the Pits in here. And so you get into a spot to where you can kind of tap out for a really nice zombie spell. All right, let's go and go Life from the Loam. Make sure I didn't miss it. I think it's still in there. Yeah, it is. Let's just go and make the land drop for the turn. Let's grab the Catacombs, grab the Watery Grave. Actually, skip on the Catacombs. Let's go Watery Grave. Let's go Breeding Pool, and let's go Urborg. We're going to go and pay green on this one. Bring those back to the hands. And what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and put in Urborg. Well, actually, no, we don't want to turn our opponent's swamps on. I'm not sure exactly what they've got. Let's go and put the Breeding Pool into play tapped. Not going to pay 2. So we're going to mill another 3. At this point right now, we're trying to hit that Boseiju. We're getting down to 9 cards in the library. It's a little risky. Let's go and swing it for 2 with Snapcaster. What we may end up doing is just go and pushing in Immortal Servitude next turn. So I think that would be pretty good. All right, swinging it for 2, puts him down to 17, and then we're going to go and pass the turn to our opponent. It is fun getting to play against Battle of Wits, though. It's always one of those things where you kind of look up and you don't really notice, if you're playing in paper, you're playing against a Battle of the Wits deck because they have this like cube in front of you. They have a cube in front of you. When you're playing online, you just don't really realize it until next thing you know, you're like, oh my goodness, they've got 300 cards over there. And so, all right, they're going to completely tap out for Tezzeret. Search your library. Uh-oh. If they go for the orb, well, actually, it won't matter if they go for the orb. I got mixed up thinking about Sword of the Meat because that always gonna get some good stuff going. So they're gonna go for an artifact with converted mana cost 2 or less. We'll see if they're gonna go for Thopter Foundry. Okay, that will turn us online for Immortal Servitude. We can bring everybody back and then start sacrificing and be able to close it out. Now that's the fun thing about playing against Battle of the Wits when they go to sideboard, a little bit diluted. We actually don't need to dredge on this one. We're okay with that. Let's go to get the. I guess it honestly didn't. We're at 8 cards in the library. We'll just go and put the Urborg into play. We're going to target ourselves for another 3. And let's go and go for him. I know Boseiju's in here somewhere. Let's see if we can't find it. All right, get this popped out. But yeah, I'll kind of show you how we win with the deck as soon as we, let's go. There it is. Boseiju finally makes an appearance. Let's go double black, triple black, and then we're going to do X for 2. So it's going to bring all of our 2-drops out of the graveyard. We're going to have a Sack Outlet. We're going to have Snapcaster. We'll just go ahead and target Life from the Loam. And what we're going to do is we're going to use Bloodthorn Vampire. We're going to sacrifice Snapcaster. It doesn't really matter what creature that you sacrifice. The main thing is you can see that when we sacrifice a creature, we've got, I think, 6 copies. Yeah, we've got all of our copies of Blood Artists on the battlefield. It's going to be 3 Zulaport, 3 Blood Artists. So always yield. Always yield. So now, whenever we sacrifice a creature, our opponent's going to lose 6 life and we gain 6 life. So you can see them at 11. They're going to go down to 5. Now, the difference between these 2 triggers is that Blood Artist does target. So let's say that our opponent does sideboard in some sort of hexproof or something like that. They will be able to get around the Blood Artist trigger because we can't target them. But with Zulaport, it does not target, so it just deals to each opponent. Now, the difference between Zulaport and Blood Artist is that Zulaport will trigger only for your own creatures, not your opponent's creatures. All right, get it down to 0. We go to 27. You can see this entire board state. But if we wanted to go ahead and sack everything out, that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we had 8 times 6. We're looking right at about 48 in Blood Artist triggers, and that's not including as you start to sacrifice some of the Zulaports and the Blood Artists. So let's go ahead and go over to sideboarding. Fun deck to play. Now, we are playing against Battle of the Wits. As far as them having graveyard hate or siding in some graveyard hate, I feel like our best bet is to simply just kind of keep it the way it is. We could go for something like Abrupt Decay or Nature's Claim. It wouldn't hurt. But I think I'm okay just staying as consistent as possible. If we're playing against any other deck, I would probably sideboard in some more, like Abrupt Decay or Nature's Claim. But I think I kind of like it the way it is. We can really kind of apply some pressure to our opponent. So let's go shift this one over to Game 2. Okay, welcome back to Game 2. Now, as far as our opening hand goes, we do have Hedron Crab and Watery Grave. And if we had one more land, I would love to keep on this one. Yeah, let's go and mulligan. I'm just not too wild about this one. See if we can't hit a couple more lands. Zulaport and Glimpse. And life from the, yeah, we'll go and keep on this one. I don't really want to go past 6. We do have 2 sack out. I mean, 2 blood artist things that we can get going. We'll keep on this one. Hopefully, we kind of scry into another land. That's kind of the game plan right now. Wonderful. We do have a polluted delta on top, so let's go and put that on top of our library, and then we'll let our opponent do their thing there on the play. But yeah, so I hope you enjoyed game 1. That's I've played. I love aristocrats, and you don't really get to see it in modern that much, just typically because the format's a little bit faster than standard. Let's go and get the catacombs down. And then anything else, we're going to go and pass the turn. But yeah, I love playing aristocrats. Now, as far as like 4-color rally versus immortal servitude, those are going to be your 2 main reanimator spells for modern. 4-color rally kind of keeps you a little bit more open as far as being a little bit more limber, however you want to say it, like kind of whatever word. The reason for that is with 4-color rally, or at least rally the ancestors, what you do, it allows you to bring back converted mana cost creatures X or less. Not going to pay 2, no. So you're not constrained to just having Immortal Servitude for like 1 or 2 or 3 or something like that. I'm just going to get the Polluted Delta down. Let's go and crack the Polluted Delta. And I think I like going, let's go and shock the Watery Grave in. Let's go and go for Life from the Loam on those 2 lands. That's going to put us at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, excuse me, I thought we were going to be able to go past 7. Now, sometimes with Life from the Loam, you can bring back enough lands into your hand to where you can dump one of your creatures into the graveyard and then kind of go from there. But what we're probably going to do is going to dredge Life from the Loam. We have Tygam Scheming to go for to kind of dig for Immortal Servitude. And then once we kind of get that into the hand, we can just go hog wild with Milling. Love it. Sounds like a lot of fun. Let's see. Yeah, let's go and dredge Life from the Loam. All right. We hit Drosshopper and then empty the pits. Let's go and get the Polluted Delta down. Do we want to force a Tygam Scheming at this point right now? Yeah, let's go and go for that. Let's go and crack the Polluted Delta. We kind of shuffle the library up because we do have to put it on top of the library if we do want to keep it. Let's go and grab that Watery Grave, put it into play tap. Not going to pay 2. Let's go for Tygam Scheming. Ooh, wonderful. All right, so we're going to put Grimflayer into the graveyard, Misty, Polluted Delta, Jace, and then Immortal Servitude on top of the library. Okay, we'll have that in the hand, then we can just start going for Glimpse the Unthinkable, rolling out Blood Artist and Zulaport Cutthroat, and then we can start going from there. We do have a sack outlet in the graveyard in Drosshopper, so that kind of turns us online. The only really thing is we need a few more creatures, and hopefully Glimpse the Unthinkable will give us that. Now, as far as the sack outlets in the deck, we do have multiple sack outlets in here. I'm just going to get the Catacombs down, actually. I think I want to go Life from the Loam. Yeah, let's go and crack the Catacombs. Let's get the Swamp down. We are at 14. I'm not worried about getting burned down, but you don't want to be just go super crazy with it. Let's go Life from the Loam, and we have only fetch lands in here. Let's go Misty, Polluted Delta. Let's go green and then black. And let's go and go Glimpse the Unthinkable for 10. Oh, best thing you can do in Magic. I love it. All right, then we're going to go and pass the turn. So we do have Life from the Loam in the hand. We finally hit Boseiju with it not being the last part of the last card in the library. So we're gonna go and dredge Life from the Loam and grab that Boseiju. That way we don't really have to worry about running into some random counter spell from our opponent. It's one of the most defeating things in Magic is developing a graveyard and then having your opponent just like a play against Grixis Death Shadow and oh man, that stung. Let's go and get the Catacombs down. So at this point right now, we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We've got 7. We've got 8 creatures right now. That's going to be 2. We need to get some of these Blood Artist effects into the graveyard. Let's go and go Life from the Loam. Let's grab a bunch of lands. Let's grab that Boseiju, Watery Grave, and then that Breeding Pool. Those all go into the hand, and that's going to allow us to kind of dump them into the graveyard and go for a pretty good Immortal Servitude. Should be able to go for that the following turn. All right. Bring those back. See if they want to counter. If they want to, that's fine. They do have the Vivid Crag. All right, we're going to put the Boseiju into play, and that's going to allow us to dump 2 cards into the graveyard, which we're just going to dump Blood Artist and Zulaport Cutthroat. Actually, well, yeah, we'll do split down the middle, both of those. And then I'll get a final creature count, and that way we can kind of get a count on how many creatures we got. Let's go and dump the Blood Artist and the Zulaport. There we go. There we go. And that puts us 7 cards in the hand. So, as far as creatures goes, we do have the sack outlet. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we've got 11 creatures in the graveyard. We do have, I think, at least 4 copies of Blood Artist. So that's going to be 7. Yeah, I think we've got enough to go ahead and go for it now. And we'll go and dredge life from the loam. As long as we hit at least 1 or 2 more, yeah, we're good to go. Now, one of the Jaces we're going to have to keep, but, and then we do have Noxious Revival. Do we have a Snapcaster out? Yeah, we do have Snapcaster, so we can go ahead and go for it. Let's go ahead and get the, let's go ahead and go for Immortal Servitude. It's going to be double black. Now, this is one of those, we should have enough creatures to go ahead and go for it. But let's say that we get in a spot to where we can't go for it. With us having Snapcaster in the graveyard and Noxious Revival, once we bring back Snapcaster, we can target the, we have to choose a Jace to keep first. We'll go and keep this one. All right, get those Zulaport triggers going. Love it. Blood Artist targeting our opponent. And then once Snapcaster comes into play, what we're going to do is we're going to go for Snapcaster on Noxious Revival. And we can pay that with 2 life and put Immortal Servitude back on top. So it allows us to basically just rinse and repeat and go for it again. All right, they're going to lose 4. We gain 4. Let's go and activate Bloodthorn Vampire, sacrifice Lot Troll. Get these Zulaport triggers on the stack. Blood Artist targeting our opponent. Let's go and right-click Always Yield. And then Always Yield. Yeah, I've been doing these I've been doing these triggers for a long time. All right, we're going to go ahead and sacrifice Drawshopper. And Immortal Servitude, this is actually the first deck that got me into Modern. It was like my first little homebrew that I really went deep on. And in fact, to celebrate 5,000 subscribers on my channel, I did kind of like a little 5K celebration video with this deck. So I was looking for something to record this week, and I thought it'd be really fun to kind of give a proper release of Immortal Servitude. So I'm really excited about this, and that should be enough right there, targeting our opponent. We outrace the Battle of the Wits deck. One of my favorite things about playing, Jank versus Jank in Modern is if you get paired against something that's not tier 1, against like Battle of the Wit, it always feels a little bit extra special to kind of get those janky wins like we just did now. So, anyways, if you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.